Welcome to Inside PTI, weekly videos designed to get you the trial results you want, agronomy explanations you need, and insights that will set you up for success this season. Today we're going to talk about narrow row corn, and this is something that we've worked on for a number of years now. And to be honest with you, I thought the popularity of narrow row corn would really take off, say over the last 5 years, but I think it's really gone the other way. So here's a picture of some of the corn that we have at the PTI farm. This is some of our 20-inch rows, and really I guess the predominant row width with most farmers today is 30-inch rows. It is interesting to me, a lot of folks call 30-inch rows narrow rows, because years ago we were running 40-inch rows, and the reason why was the equipment we had at the time. We were set up with horse-drawn planters and equipment, and so we needed 40-inch rows so the horse had enough room to fit down the row. And then as equipment, tractors, different kind of horsepower came into play, we narrowed up, and right now the popularity is right at 30-inch rows. But some folks are looking at narrowing up even more. And when we narrow the rows in to get the same populations, the distance between each seed widens out. And I like that concept because it's less plant-to-plant competition. If we run into some type of stress, whether it's drought per se, each plant has a little bit more room, more water, more nutrients to get, and just, rather than bringing the rows wider and putting those seeds closer together. So, we've done polling. This winter we traveled the countryside and we've asked growers, what row width are you on today? And predominantly everybody's on 30-inch rows, and I guess we're all in this waiting pattern, to see, are we going to have corn hybrids that come out that really like 20-inch rows? And I've said for years, I think this is a seed industry thing. I think the seed industry, when they come out with hybrids that like 20-inch rows, this thing is going to take off, but it just hasn't happened yet. Matter of fact, I think there's a lot of growers who went to 20-inch rows, were not successful with it, and now they're back on 30-inch rows. And that's been a problem just because of resale of equipment mainly. You needed to bring in new planters, new corn heads, and the resale value of those has not been great. So that was pretty costly for some growers. But this thing has just taken so long to really work, and we're monitoring this every single year at PTI. Here's some 2019 results. I want to start off on the left of this graph. We show this the status quo, if you will. What are guys doing today? So 30-inch rows at plant populations of 36,000. That's my control. That's the status quo. Then we go to 20-inch rows at that same population of 36,000, and I'm losing 7.9 bushel. Guys, if we're going to go into a new technology, we want it to be higher yielding. We want to make more money. And here in this case, we're lowering yield. So this didn't give me the benefit that I wanted. The next thing we do is we test those 20-inch rows in comparison to the wide 30s at a higher population. So we take 20s at 40,000. And this was the one lone time where narrow rows did offer us advantages compared to the standard 30-inch rows at 36,000. Got a 3.3 bushel increase. Not much, but it was still something there. And then as we took populations even higher, we went to 44,000, and then we just ran out of gas, and we were losing nearly 13.5 to 14 bushel yield losses when we went in 20-inch rows at that high of a population. So you look at the dollar value, the economic status of going to narrow rows, we lost money in every situation. Even though 20-inch rows at 40,000 gave us a little over 3 bushel yield increase, by the time we factor in the cost, we still lost 21 cents per acre. So there really wasn't any value in it this year for us in narrow rows at the PTI farm. We're testing different hybrids as well. Although this isn't a huge data set, this was 4 particular hybrids. One hybrid loved the 20-inch rows and performed well at the higher populations at 40,000. But then look at all the other hybrids. It was just an overall net loss for each and every one of them. We are trying to play around with narrow rows. How can we make this thing a little bit different to be successful with it? This is what we call the solar corridor. This is where I'm planting 20-inch rows, but I have a solar corridor. I run one row with nothing. I take the seed out of it completely, so I end up with a 40-inch tram line, if you will. So we run 2 20-inch rows, a solar corridor of a 40-inch gap, 2 more 20-inch rows. And what we're trying to do with this is get more sunlight interception on those outside rows, the gap rows, if you will, to try to push yield on it. And I'll show you some early results on this. We've just done this 1 year. We lost almost 10 bushels the acre by doing this tram line, the solar corridor situation. But this doesn't tell the whole story though, because since we're eliminating every other row, 2 sets of 20s and then a gap row, we don't have any seed costs there. So we lower our seed cost by about 1/3. So even though we're losing 9.7 bushel per acre in the solar corridor, we're actually making almost $6 an acre since we have a lower seed cost. So we're going to keep monitoring this. We're going to look at different populations on those outside solar corridor rows. We're even bringing in some strip cropping to look at some of the same thing this coming year at PTI. So stay tuned for some more results on that. Today's Inside PTI agronomy tip of the day is narrow row corn is something that we have been studying at the PTI farm. This year we didn't get the positive results we were looking for, but we still plan to monitor corn yield in narrow rows in the future. Our studies going forward will focus on plant architecture, fixed versus flexed ears, and hybrids that really can benefit from narrow rows. In my opinion, right now is practice for us with narrow row corn. We're learning how to manage and implement a narrow row corn program. So once we get corn hybrids that can be successful in increasing corn yield and profitability, we will be ready to implement the narrow row management strategy. For more information or questions, feel free to reach out to any Precision Planting Premier dealer, or you can email us at InsidePTI@precisionplanting.com. We'll see you on the next episode of Inside PTI. In the meantime, thanks for watching.